we're going to start with an icebreaker. Say your name, say your pronouns, and then say what superpower you would choose if you could choose any superpower.
Okay, so I go by Righteous. Pronouns are her, she. And if I had one superpower, it would be some type of healing power. And when I say healing power, not necessarily physical, but it would probably like embody all of it. You know, mainly focusing on mental and spirituality. However, I would like to heal some physical shit too. But yeah, that's what I want my superpower to be.
I guess I'm next. No, I'm Shawnee TV. What was the other stuff? Pronouns, she, her, yo, and bro. I mean, that's just it. The next one, superpowers. I would think probably like flight or some type of like instant travel, something to get me from one place to the next really quickly so I can see the world without paying for the plane tickets. That's it.
Q, her, she pronouns, and I guess my superpower would be to read minds. Like, I want to know what people are thinking instantly and see if it aligns with what I feel energy-wise.
It's a dangerous power.
I want it.
My name is Marquita, she, her, and I believe my superpower would be, I think, a healer as well. Just because I hate to see people in pain. I hate to see people in need. I know what it is to feel pain and to be in need. So I would definitely just want to heal people's minds, people's spirits and problems. So yeah.
I got like 17 superpowers, so it was hard to like navigate down this shit. But I'm Ashley DJ. Superpower. Oh, she, her pronouns. Superpower, probably to be invisible. Slide up through a bank, no one see me, take money, shit like that.
Red say so. She, her pronouns. She, her pronouns. And my superpower would probably be like teleporting. I'm with you, Shawnee. I'm trying to get up and go, and I need to just be there. I'm really impatient, so being able to be like, whoo, that'd be a dope superpower. But I want to be able to like touch shit and bring it with me too.
I'm Chandler. She, her, bro, Chan the man. My superpower, I think I want to fly. I'm not afraid of heights, so I've always envisioned, like, even when I'm on a plane, I've always envisioned like the plane going a little bit like higher than before, but I know that power will also possess for me to have like high oxygen levels so I could breathe like above the clouds. So I probably want to fly so I could like experience like new heights, if that makes sense.
All the way up.
Yeah.
Monet, pronouns she, her, or they, them. I'm really struggling with the superpower thing. Like, I do want to heal, I want to fly, but I think more than anything, I don't know, I just want to be like able to like inhale books. I want to read so much, but I don't have time. I just want to inhale all the books.
I'm with that. That's dope.
This week topic's talking about like, I'm gonna just call it people expressing their sexual preferences. Specifically like people not disclosing their sexual preference and being on the down low, as they call it. So I would just say, like, I'm gonna just throw the question out there, like, when you are, most of y'all are partnered or dating. So when you're dating someone or when you met your partner, how did you disclose like your preference, or was that something that was just assumed?
I think for like me, it's more of a conversation. Like, I mean, I've seen it in dating profiles, like, bi women only or like lesbian women only. But for me, it's more of a personal conversation because like if your lesbian partner had sex with men before you, right? People automatically get offended by that. So like for me, it's like I might write off somebody that could be truly like for me, about me, if I'm like so exclusionary, I guess, in the beginning. That makes sense.
So because a lot of us are like masculine presenting women. So my question for my masculine presenting folks are like, do you even have to disclose your sexual preference, or is that something that's like assumed about you? Like, do women even ask you like, hey, do you like men? Do you like women? Or are they, do they see you as a masculine presenting woman and automatically assume like, hey, she likes women and women only? You get what I'm saying?
I would say for me and my current partner, me and Sapphire, funny story I could tell y'all. I met her off of a dating app. And I had pictures that were up there when I was kind of still in college. So I was in between like the masculine and STEM phase. So I had hoops in one picture and then a stud earring in another. And, funny thing when her and I first the first night we met, she was like, well, I just want to ask you. And I mean, we were having conversations like through text message, on the phone, stuff like that. And it was already said that I was queer, but I wasn't fully masculine presenting. And, she was just trying to figure it out as her getting to know me. And we were still in that dating, talking phase. So it wasn't presumed in that case through pictures, right? But when we finally got around each other face to face and we met, I guess my mannerisms and the way I handled myself, like, opening the door for her, like, I guess that's kind of how women, or just people in general, society kind of differentiates between a masculine presenting person or a feminine presenting person, and just the mannerisms of it all. So when I was opening doors for her and stuff like that, she was kind of like, okay, I could see you're a little bit, I guess, the masculine side. And then, I mean, even when we first met, I didn't have hoops or nothing like that on, but, it was kind of perceived from that side. When we first started dating, she knew that I was queer, but also she was just trying to understand, I guess, like the presentation, what that means, like the presentation of how I presented myself.
So did she ask you if you like men also?
Yeah, it was a question at one point. She asked, like, was I, because of the STEM presentation. That was actually the original question. Like, the STEM presentation was there still room left in me to still be attracted to men? And I was like, no, like, I'm done with that. I was done with that, like, my sophomore, junior year of college. I was kind of done with that whole side. So, I mean, and it was both sides throughout college. So, and it stopped at junior with men. So she did ask that. She did ask that.
What about you, Q? I know your relationship is, you're in a relationship too. When you met, or a situationship, I don't wanna put more weight onto something than it is. I know you're seeing someone. So when you met this person, did they ask you like, hey, do you date both men and women? Was that a conversation that y'all had, or was it just something that was assumed?
It's definitely something that was assumed. Nobody has ever asked me that, except for studs who want to see if I'm like stud for stud or something like that. That's the only time I'm ever asked. And other than that, it's always assumed. Like, I would date a stud, like, if, you know what I mean? Like, I would. It's not something that I'm against, but it's not something that I normally would go for, if that makes sense.
Got you. Come on, Keita. Let me know. Sorry, I gotta put you on the spot.
All
But
right.
let me know, because I can also say, like, as a tomboyish, masculine presenting female, I was never asked like, hey, do you date men and women? Like, it's something that's very much so assumed.
Mm-hmm.
But what about you? Is that a question you are asked often?
I always get asked that question because no one knows that I'm gay. So, it's just like one of those things where, I ain't walking in the street wearing rainbow, you know what I'm saying? So, like, it's nobody really knows that I'm gay until I open my mouth and say that I'm gay, or they think my sister is my girlfriend. So, like, it's just, it's either one or another, but most times they ask, if when I am approached in that manner, are you bisexual? That's always the question, and the answer is always no. Not like no judging. I'm just saying, like, no, I've always been gay my entire life. I've never been with a man, so it's just like, that's just it.
What about when you're in like, even like, because we party together, we've gone out together, so I know you go to like queer parties. So even in those spaces, are you still asked, are you bisexual? Or in, like even in queer spaces, like, what does that look like in queer spaces?
Yeah, I'm still asked that. Like, I think that's just a general question. Like, for me, if I ever meet a femme, I'm asking that question off the top. Like, I want to know from the very beginning, like, who am I dealing with, and what kind of person am I dealing with, right? Because I just have a preference. So, I just want to know, like, if you are, then God bless you. I don't have no problem, but I'm not interested. So, yeah.
I think that speaks a lot to just like how masculine and feminine identities are perceived in the gay community, and how like assumptions and expectations are like put on us without even like, us wanting, those assignments.
I think that you should disclose your preference in the beginning, because if you find out down the road, similar to like Love is Blind, when the dude was like, she found out that he was bi at the pool, you feel me? And they was already down the line. So I think that pisses somebody off, because that's a preference. So if you're going to sit there and wait till the very end where somebody's already fucking with you, that's kind of fucked up. So I think that, it should be disclosed first date. Like, all right, we getting the appetizers. Like, you fuck dudes? No. Okay, cool. We move on. We go to dinner, but we fuck dude? Okay. Appetizers, check, please. No, but I don't have a preference for that specifically anymore. Like, before I met my wife, it was no bi women. But after meeting a couple of bi women, I'm like, it's like no bad dogs, there's bad owners. Like, there's no bad bi chick. It's just how you own your shit. You feel me? Like, if you're gonna come in and hide it, you're fucked up. If you're gonna tell somebody the first date, then that's cool. That's up to that person to be like, you know what? I can fuck with this. So that's just my plight with it. I don't care if you're gay, lesbian, bi, transgender. Let the motherfucker know in the beginning. Period.
I just add to the Love is Blind thing like that. I was smiling because that episode, I don't mean to cut you off, Tay. That episode was like really crazy to a lot of people that was on social media. Like, they were kind of like, they started the debate, right? Where it was like, if you wait to tell somebody that long, like how he waited, do you give that person a time to process, the fact that you're into both sexes? Or, do you get mad like he did and snap on her and be like, you don't accept me for who I am or whatever? But also the fact that he waited, like that Love is Blind episode really kind of sparked a debate with our community and people that's not even in our community, as far as when should you disclose your sexual preference to somebody? Do you, like Shani said, do you wait until the first date? Do you wait until y'all already a couple months in? Like, what it was, and everybody was kind of going back and forth. It was kind of like crazy. Like, people were arguing on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and everything about that whole episode.
Like, I think for me, if I was her, I'd been upset too. Like, I think that is only appropriate for somebody. Like, if you wait until like there's feelings involved, then like that's like gaslighting somebody a little bit. Like, it's playing with their emotions, because that's like putting somebody in a position that they're not ready for. Like, you don't know like what their own internal shit is. that they got to process out. And I think for him to get upset, like anyone, maybe to get upset that late in the game is a little bit unfair, because why would you wait? Like you probably been scared before, but like, why would you wait to tell somebody that shit? And then I don't know, like sometimes we do that we do it to ourselves, and we get mad at others for that, and it's not fair, I think. So, but they don't accept me, nah, bruh. What was the parameters around that shit?
Well, I guess this would be and it kind of like flows into like my next question that I had. Does someone have to disclose that in the beginning? Because it can be a later development. You get what I'm saying? It can be something that you don't initially. I could meet you and not be attracted to men, and then 6 months down the line, I realize I am attracted to men. So I guess, like, one, do y'all think that like it even matters? Because like, are y'all the type of person that's like, yo, if you're with me and you're committed to me, that's all that I need as an individual? You get what I'm saying? Who you're attracted to outside of me doesn't matter because you're committed to me right now. You get what I'm saying? So like, one, doesn't even matter. And then like, if it does matter, it's like, are people allowed to change? Is this a flexible answer that can change at any given time? Because who we like and what we're attracted to changes over time. Like, just as people, where do we give room for that as well? I don't know if anybody.
I feel like it depends on what your intentions are. Like, if you're not telling me out of, you're ashamed of something, or if you are worried about how I'm going to react, or something like that, I feel like that's a reason for me to be upset about something I didn't know. Now, if you just didn't disclose the fact that you like men because you don't sexually date men, or, things like of that nature, then I really don't care. It could be something where you're attracted to certain men, just like with, what is his name? Aquaman. I think he's fine. Like, I don't care about that. Like, I think he is Jesus. If you want me, you know what to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I feel like that's my thing. And I feel like, that's something that I don't mind saying because that's who I am. Now, I'm not going to say like, oh, well, if I'm attracted to men, that it's something that I wouldn't disclose, because I definitely would, because that's something that I'm not ashamed of, or I wouldn't be ashamed of if that was my preference.
I'm a little out of practice, but I feel like shut up, Fred. So my wife and I have been married almost 4 years, but we met 11 years ago. And so I think that's different. But like, if I was like dating now, I mean, if you're comfortable enough to tell me when we first meet, great. I mean, I would like that, but I mean, I can't make somebody tell me something that they're not, like ready to share. But even personally, like, you find out stuff about yourself later. Like, I've only been interested in women, like, since I've been smart enough to know that. But like, then this like polyamorous conversation comes up. I've never considered that before. So that's something new that has been like discussed and stuff like that. So, I mean, people discover stuff about themselves whenever they do. So, I mean, if I was still dating and stuff, like, I would just want somebody like to talk with me about it whenever they were ready to. I just don't want to force nobody to say something that they're not ready to talk about.
I definitely agree with that 100%, because I think also it's a level of comfortability, because sexuality is still, depending where you are and who you are, is still very touch and go. And even though it's like we're in a community of people that say be yourself, you can't really, depending on what kind of person you are and what you like, you can't really be yourself. So I think it's a level of comfortability. Like, if you're dating someone, and it also depends on what terms that you consider, like dating. What is dating to you? Liking someone, what is liking someone to you? Because everybody has different standards as well. And unfortunately, you know, everybody doesn't take in consideration of others. A lot of people are stuck in their selfishness of who they are because they're not comfortable yet. So it's like for us to sit here and have a conversation, I think it's a very good conversation because it allows people to see other perspectives and where other people may be coming from. But sexuality is very fluid. And, you know, I've had that issue with bisexual girls, like, nah, I'm not dating no bisexual girl, blah, 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 blah. But I feel like since sexuality is fluid, that experience sometimes has to be had in order to know what you like, what you enjoy, in multiple levels and in multiple facets for you to be able to make a quote unquote life-term decision of that being who you are and going.
You missed one of our first questions, Leah. We were talking about how, like, as masculine presenting women, a lot of us don't even get asked, like, hey, do you like men? Do you like women? That's not even a question that we're asked. But I know that you are more feminine presenting. So I just wanted to know, is that a question that you're asked often? Like, do you like men? Or you're not asked that often?
I'm never asked. No, they always assume that I'm straight everywhere I go.
Wow.
Always. I have to be the one to initiate, like, oh yes, I actually am a lesbian, or stop somebody dead in their tracks when they like, oh, can we just be friends? I'm like, nope, I'm a lesbian. I'm sorry to break it to you, but yeah, I'm always assumed to be straight everywhere I go.
Same here.
Yep. And no one has ever even considered that I might not like men.
Like, not even
until
in, like,
maybe they
like gay, like queer spaces.
And that's funny because even when we go over mutual friends' house, everybody just thought I was a friend of y'all, not actually a part of the community. Everybody thought, oh yeah, she's not gay, you know. Yeah. So I don't know. It's weird. I don't know if it's a certain vibe I don't give off or what the deal is, but no one ever thinks I'm a lesbian.
Thank you for joining us, Leah. But you did mention, like, bisexuals. Honestly, I really respect bisexuals because, like, they take on a lot. Like, they take on two worlds and they be like, yeah, I know what I like. It's not that I'm greedy. It's not that I want it all. I'm open to what I'm open to and respect that shit. So, respect bisexual.
It's not them that's the problem. It's the on the down low bitches. Sorry to say it, because they take that bullshit, they fuck it up, make it muddy water for somebody that's just liking both sides. And they honest about that shit. Like, if you in a relationship with a dude and then you, like that one girl you sent, she literally liked females sexually, but she did not want a relationship with a female. And most studs,
as hell.
Exactly. Most masculine presenting women, we want a fucking relationship. We not going, like, a lot of times we like the fuck buddy shit, but after a while, we gonna want to, have a wife or somebody like that. And if you're not,
studs need love.
Studs need love. No, but real shit though, like, if you're going to be honest about that in the beginning, then that's up to me to deal with that shit. But if you're telling me, yeah, I'm a lesbian, I'm fucking with women a long way, and then you like, oh, I don't fuck with women like that, I just like to fuck them, and then damn, my heart is hurt. So
that's most of the time is the problem. That's the problem, is that they're not real with themselves. You know what I'm saying? So, like, how can I understand my position with you if you're not even being honest with your position when it comes to me? So that, to me, that's enough. I'm like, I mean, to each his own, like I said, but I just been in a situation where I was lied to for a very long time. Femme and butch. So to me, it's or stud or masculine presenting, whatever. In both cases, I've been lied to in that area. So to me, it's just like, no, I don't. You opening up a whole new world of, especially if we're sexually, like, intimate, and I have to sit here and think about, okay, who you're having sex with, but who is that person having sex with? You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I ain't got time for this. Too many people to worry about.
if you a liar, you a fucking liar. So regardless of who the hell you are, you just gotta be real in the beginning, period.
Then you got, like you said, Shani, the girls who only like fuck with women, but like want to marry a man or never can see themselves with like a woman. Like that shit is invalidating for identities as fuck, bruh. Like for people, like it basically is like, well, gay is for play, like gay is not a serious thing. Like it just perpetuates this like theory of that shit, and it's hella fucked up. Low-key homophobic.
But do y'all think it's a safe way to like disconnect like romantic attraction from like sexual attraction? Because I do think that you're able to like enjoy having, like sex is an act, right? It's an act that most people or should at least engage in for pleasure. Not everyone has that luxury, but I feel like, do y'all think that it's able to be separated? Like, I wanna what you said, Keita? I see your reaction.
No, I think that everybody who has said one time or another that sex is just sex, if you're having sex with someone, okay, you're letting that person enter your body, you're letting that person, you're exchanging things with that person. After a while, you will catch feelings, especially if the sex is good. If the sex is good, y'all having sex, you're going to catch a feeling or two at some point in time. Sex is not just sex. Sex, you exchange something with sex. It's just not sex. It can be just sex, right? It can be like a hit or miss situation. It could be that. But if you're having sex with someone, something is going to come from that.
So you don't think that they could just be gay for the sex? Keita rolled her eyes. She rolled her eyes at me. That was so childish, Keita.
I do think that some females like gay sex, like to indulge in gay sex. However, may not want to be with a woman. I think that can happen, but I also think that it goes back to women who just really don't know how to identify themselves, because I've seen a straight female have sex with a gay female who then start getting feelings for a gay female, but ultimately do not want a life of a lesbian. So it's just like, it just get confusing.
I'm a therapist, so you gotta let me know if I get too in my stuff.
Nah,
like,
bring it.
I think that, no, personally, I don't think that shit gonna work. But secondly, I guess if that's like an expectation that you talk about up front, I think that's different than kind of snowing somebody and letting them believe that you're trying to have a relationship or something like that, and you don't care nothing about that. You just try and get yours and move on. If y'all sit and talk about it beforehand, then even if it goes wrong, I guess everybody was on the same page at some point. I think that's just different than everybody just in their own separate book.
I got a personal account of this situation. So I actually married her, but in the beginning we started off as fuck buddies. And as soon as it got to a point where the fuck buddiness became a little bit more romantic in the mindset, that's when my wife now was like, look, if you want to still, fucking, do your little situation and do that with other people and all that, then I'm cool. She was honest. She's like, look, I'm ready to move on because I'm really fucking with you. Like, I'm really romantically invested here. And it started off as just sex, but it moved on to something different. So she immediately let me know, because it's detrimental to keep going down that road. And you just fucking that person just like, it's sex. I'm in love. It's sex. I'm in love. Like, that's too much. It's too much back and forth. So I ran initially. I told her, look, I don't want a fucking relationship. I just got here. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying, do what I got to do. But she was like, all right, that's real. We kept it moving. And I called her drunk as shit one night. I just want to be in a relationship. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. And my friends looking at me like, hang up. You said you didn't want a relationship. So ultimately I got sober the next day and really made it a situation. So, You just gotta be honest. Like feelings, like you say, change. But when people change their mind and they're too scared to tell somebody because they don't know how that's going to, react or whatever, or like, what was your name? My fault. Right here, the other femme here. What was your name?
Keita or Leah?
I know Leah. Keita. So when Keita was saying she don't want the lesbian lifestyle, that's fucking true, because there's a lot of security, especially if you just like women sexually. There's a lot of security with fucking with dudes. You feel me? And especially if you have a husband and you like women sexually, you're not going to take that step and be, bisexual and own that label. You're just going to just put straight. But a survey happened and they was like, look, if there was another option like other than lesbian, bi, or straight, a lot of women would pick other because they're not necessarily straight, but they don't want to take ownership of the full lesbian lifestyle because this shit ain't no hoe. So I don't blame them, honestly.
I would say it's a responsibility though with the whole title, it's a responsibility with our lifestyle, right? So it's like once you feel romantically inclined to say, oh, I'm in love with this woman, I want to be in a relationship. Now the straight women for that matter, they feel like, oh, now I'm just about to like leave everything behind. I'm going to be with this woman. And now when I go out in society, I got to say this, I got to say that, I got to, be this way. It's a whole responsibility with just, the lifestyle of it. Like, especially if you're long-term, like, for everybody in here that's married, me and I will be on our way there, but, once then you become married partners legally, y'all are tied together. That's a responsibility. Again, the lifestyle, all of it is a responsibility. And some women might not be able to really handle that, or just some individuals that don't feel inclined to say, okay, I'm not ready to fully dive in. Like, I want to have sex with her. I want to get, sex by her. I want to get this, I want to get that. But I'm not fully ready to take up that responsibility and then have to introduce her to my friends, my family, like all of that. If y'all getting deep, because it's a responsibility.
But you want to know something? If I'm being honest, like even taking it out of perspective of like women who are uncertain, like even women who are certain that they, want to engage in the queer community at some level, I feel like as queer people, we don't necessarily make a room or a space for people like sexuality to be fluid, or for people to even have a spectrum. You get what I'm saying? Within their sexuality. So I feel like we've come up with these rules and these boxes that we have to fit in. And we talked about it in the last conversation when we were discussing like the stud and like how, rules in a code come with being a stud. And even with being a femme, maybe Keita and Leah can confirm if I'm, blowing smoke or not. But, I feel like there's even rules in a code to, what it's like to be the feminine type. You get what I'm saying? I don't know if you ladies can like confirm that for me or if I'm blowing smoke, but.
No, I definitely agree. There is a code. It's like it almost feels forced and fake. Like kind of what you'll see on TV, like, okay, I'm playing the masculine role, so you got to do everything feminine. You know what I mean? You got to cook. It's like, it's not even like that in a lot of heterosexual relationships. They sometimes allow for people to be who they are rather than who you think they should be. And I feel like lesbians, because sometimes we want to portray a certain thing. Like you said, we put ourselves in these boxes and we're like, all right, check the box. So it seems forced a lot of times.
Yeah. And I feel like these boxes like restrict people in ways, and like it doesn't allow for exploration. It doesn't allow for fluidity. We are naturally attracted to other people. Naturally. You get what I'm saying? Whether we decide what level of attraction to take that to, but we are naturally attracted to people. You get what I'm saying? Even our friends. It was something that made us say, oh, okay, this person is cool, or okay, this person is attracts me in a certain way.
Everything is energy, so that attraction is going to happen regardless if it's in a friendship way, like you say, or like, oh, I'm really fucking with that person outfit. Like it's that type of attraction. Like, oh, it's a focus level. But if you like, I'm infatuated, I'm following this person on Instagram now, I'm hitting them up in the DMs. That's another fucking level. Okay, no, and that's real right.
I'm gonna bring righteous in on this a little bit. Do you feel like in the queer community, specifically queer people of color, community, that we make space for people to be fluid in their, sexual orientation, preferences, and attractions?
From my experience, I would say absolutely not. And that's coming from both spectrums of a femme and a masculine presenting woman. I think that amongst the community, the queer community, that sexuality, our sexualities have, like you said earlier, everything has a label, everything has a definition, and it's almost like those rules are to be followed, or if not, you're an outcast. From my experience, I found that I needed to go through my personal journey instead of trying to identify with others' journey, because that wasn't mine. So it's always been this thing, because I am a masculine presenting woman, like you going back to the conversation we were having earlier. It's all, automatically assumed, you're gay, you out here, whatever. And it's until people have conversation with me and notice mannerisms and conversation, my voice and things of that nature, where people are like, oh, well, you're much more feminine than I expected you to be. And that's even coming from my own community. You feel what I'm saying? So then it's like, well, you're not even making room for me. And so to answer your question, I feel like no. I feel like, we have done exactly what has been done to us. But we have, we almost on a slightly larger scale, but not really, because like we've been saying, I feel like sexuality is fluid. I feel like there is a I feel like I said, I feel like there's this script that you have to follow, and if you're not following it, then you're not part of the community. You're not gay enough. You're not this enough. You're not this enough. And I found from my experience that I needed to experience what sexuality was in order for me to be secure in that, in order for me to say, yes, I do want to marry somebody down the line, whether man or woman. I need to know who I am. So when I do present myself to them, I can be upfront with them. Like, this is who I am, this is my journey, this is what I've gone through, and I'm still exploring. And if that cannot be understood based off of your experience, then I accept that. But there was a time I really was being fake as hell with who I was, based off the thoughts of the people that I was hanging around. You know what I mean? Off of the shit that, so that's a reason why, when we get into these queer conversations, I'm quiet a lot, because I really am not informed. And I'm not informed because I've chosen not to be, because it was a detriment for a long time. But I feel like now that I'm older, I'm secure in who I am, I can have these honest conversations with other women like me, or other women who understand, not even like me, but understand the concept, because the mind is the first thing you have to conquer anyway. So if you're not even understanding where I'm coming from as a basic human, you know what I mean? I don't identify myself as of being queer. You feel me? I'm a woman first, I'm Black second. You feel me? And then down the line, my sexuality comes, because that doesn't define my movement in life. You feel me? So it's like, that should be having me heated, because it's people out here who kill themselves over that shit. Over people out here who's truly confused, because sexuality based off society's terms can be confusing as fuck, point blank and simple. And then you don't know who to identify with. So you stuck in the middle. Like that shit is crazy, and it's very sad, because it's like, you fight so hard for these rights and to be accepted and blah, 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 but you still casting people out because it's not what you believe. So I'm done.
Nah, thank you. I knew you was brewing over there. I knew you was brewing.
Oh, I never really went through a lot of that, but one thing when I came out to my aunts or whatever, they were just like, well, just tell me that you don't date somebody else masculine. Like, are you the man in the relationship? Do you date another masculine person? And for me, at the time when I came out, I was never really focused on like, okay, I'm gonna date a stud, I'm gonna date a femme. Normally, I was like attracted to more femmes, but there were like a few studs where I'd be like, okay, well, she's cute, you know what I'm saying? So I hadn't really defined that. I just knew that I liked women. And for your first thing to say, well, do you like men? Like, so if you like a masculine woman, then you must like men. That's not necessarily the same. So for me, I feel like that kind of defined really for a while. I was kind of afraid to be attracted to a stud because I felt like it was like, that can't be it. Like, I can't be attracted to a stud because I'm gay. I like women, right? So if I like somebody else that looks like me, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was my like mentality for a long time. And then I just had to get comfortable, like she said, with myself, like Rachel said, with myself, and really know that if I am attracted to a stud, like, that's my business. Like, that's my business. And kind of just go from there.
I think one of the most detrimental things we do is equate masculinity to like manhood. And we give that ownership to men as if like they own that. So anything that, exudes or resembles masculinity is automatically like, oh, you trying to be a man. You want to be a man. And it's just like, no, just because you equate this to masculinity doesn't even mean that I do. It doesn't even mean that that's how I view it. It doesn't even mean that's what I'm trying to be right now. I'm just trying to be me. Like you said, learning your own individual self is like definitely truly important.
To that effect about masculinity, like that's something that you have to grow within. Even like a young boy, like when he's out there just throwing his trucks off the fucking curb, that's him expressing his masculinity. Same as, okay, us as studs, we want to, you know what I'm saying, we wear our hats backwards. My mom was pissed about that shit for a minute. Like, wear your hat to the front. And I'm like, why? Like, can't I just wear my hat to? No, you look like a little boy. And that whole thing is like Ash was saying, women, like, not, no offense to my mom, but a lot of times women, because there's so much toxic masculinity in society, women are so kind of like to masculinity. So as me as a stud in the bathroom, it's a whole situation because it's a feminine situation. It's a female bathroom. And then you got me coming out of the bathroom and they're like, well, why are you walking like that? I'm coming out of a stall. Like, I came to pee just like you came to pee. So I think it's just, there's a toxic masculinity. So then there's a, like, everybody's like kind of trying to restrict that because they don't want that to evolve. But I think if men would look at us and not try to feel like we're trying to feminize them or take away their masculinity, they'll be able to grow in it freely without the resistance because they won't be focused on us trying to take something away from them just by us expressing our masculinity. So I think that's just, something that's crazy right now.
Well, I have a straight friend that dates like bisexual women, and he told me that, a lot of bi women kind of use us against men and they make it like a power thing. Like, okay, well, she did this for me, or she was like this and you'll never be like that. She could do this better than you. So they put that thought in their head. So sometimes when they see us, it's kind of like an inferior thing. Like, oh, you think you can take my women? Like, you can't date straight women or you can't date this type of women. You have your own lesbian women. You know what I'm saying? So they see us as a threat, like another challenge that they have to go against, not just being, a light-skinned male over a dark-skinned male, or, they have their own little things and then you throw us in it. So it's just like, now it's something else that they have to deal with.
I mean, it's also about power for men too, right? Like men and no don't go together. So if there's a woman that's like, I'm gay, I'm not into you, that's a no in their head. So then it reads as toxic masculinity. It reads as not like, well, fuck every stud because that one time at band camp, I lost my bitch, like I lost my shorty to a stud, and now it's me Like, so, and they'll hold on to it, but it's always a no. And then it comes out in hitting on lesbians at a bar in front of their partner, or it comes out as like, well, you're not really gay, or it comes out as what's that dude, Kodak Black, talking about Young and May. If I could give me an hour and I could turn you back straight, or things like that. So it comes in. It's about power for real, honestly.
Absolutely, I can attest to that whole. You know, when guys try to holler at me or talk to me, the first thing they say is that, oh, you know, a guy did you wrong. Like they want to automatically go to that reason every time, right? And it's just like, no, that's not it. You're not going to blame my sexuality on another guy. Like it has nothing to do with the guy. It has everything to do with me and what I want and my preference. And that's one thing. And then secondly, to go back to, I'm sorry, I'm just new to y'all. Someone said something about, you know, guys, is it Q? Okay, she said something about like how females use girls as like a weapon to guys, right? And it's so funny that you say that because I have a friend who is bisexual, and she speaks about that, how women are more nurturing, how women are more caring, how women are more giving, and you go to a guy and it's like, you know, a woman that asks you, are you hungry? Do you need anything? Can I help you? Da-da-da-da, you know, and then the guy is just like, damn near pay you any mind. You know, they're not as nurturing. They're not as caring. So everything that the woman had with the woman, she craves it from a man, but can't get it. You know, so it's kind of, it can be used as a weapon. So that was my 2 points.
I think all of this just shows like how a lot of this shit is a spectrum, and a lot of these things are like fluid, and how like, you know, we need different things from different people for different reasons. So like I guess my closing question will be like, do y'all think that there is a way to dismantle some of the stigmas around, you know, bisexuality, or, you know, people, you know, just people who are identifying as outside of the norm or outside of their box? Do you think that there's a way for us to really dismantle it? And if so, how?
I think honesty and integrity. I just think that like if you honest and respect, right? Because it has to work both ways. It, you know, if a person is honest about who they are, and have integrity inside of that, I think that on the other side, being able to understand someone that's not like you or something that's outside of the norm. It's like, this is your life, being able to let people be happy in their happiness, right? So like both things have to go hand in hand. You know, you have to be okay with yourself, and then you have to be okay with we have to be okay with someone else being okay with themselves. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is for me, I think.
I would say maturity is my big thing. Like, I think if you're mature enough to deal with certain situations and the way you handle yourself and the way you just have that honesty and everything, I feel like that's very important. And if you can just be mature about a situation, even if you don't have it all figured out, say that. You know, don't leave me wondering about what you don't understand. You know, if you don't know, say that. It's okay to say that. But to leave me wondering and trying to figure out something that you're not trying to figure out, and leaving me to come up with my own conclusion, because I'm gonna come up with one if you don't give me one. And then it's a whole situation, you know what I mean? So it just comes down to being honest and open and mature.
That openness is like, for me, like the biggest thing, because I don't know, I feel like you can't accept other people for who they are and whatever they're going through and like how they're learning about themselves if you've already like closed the door. It's just like, nah, I don't want none of that. Because like everybody doesn't kind of like learn themselves and go through their journey at the same pace. Like I'm 30 years old, I'm still figuring shit out in therapy like every 2 weeks. So like it just doesn't work if you're already closed off, and that's how people get shut out. When everybody else has already like closed the door on them and it's just like, nah, what you're doing ain't right. Who decides that kind of thing?
I also think that like we need to like not just normalize communication within our like partners, but just within our community as a whole, because a lot of our behaviors and codes are like self-taught and passed down. And I feel like if we, like right now, if we make it okay for masculine women to, you know, just be able to date who they want, express who they want, it doesn't matter if you're masculine, feminine, whatever, as long as you're communicating, as long as you know yourself, as long, you know, and a couple people spoke about that, as long as you're transparent with that, with everyone else, and you're not sneaking and being deceitful or deceiving, um you know, I think that is what makes the difference, and it shows the younger generations, you know, like, all right, cool, this is cool. Because like even now, like a lot of these 22-year-olds and stuff like that, they don't really care too much about the stuff. You get what I'm saying? But these 26s and ups, you get what I'm saying? They like, oh no, you know what I mean? They're real strict, and you see over time, you see the generational gaps. So I just feel like it's up to us to like teach and to pass down knowledge. So I feel like us having conversations, us communicating and changing the norm and the status quo is like, and that can just be done by just being receptive of people. You get what I'm saying? You ain't gotta go and get in your own masculine on masculine relationship. You get what I'm saying? Like, nah, but when your friend come around and your friend is like, yo, this where I'm at with it, don't shun them. You get what I'm saying? Because I think, was it Righteous that was talking about like times where people were shunned or something for how they identified. You get what I'm saying? Shunning people that are already shunned, you get what I'm saying? It's just like, it's fucked up. So like community, I feel like is like a big part in like changing the status quo.
But I think in order to like dismantle it, if you can do it, I think you also have to like dismantle societal norms, to say the least. So like even in the gay community, like we are so like obsessed with following heteronormativity to almost to a T, just because like, for example, like gay folk are like, all right, we're gonna live outside of the box. Like I want to try to align myself with as much of society as possible. And so if somebody wants, you know, what is polyamorous, that's too outside of the norm, and that's gonna open up a whole can of worms for me. And then I had to deal with this. So like to even have that conversation, someone has to be okay with being like, well, fuck society, fuck gender norms, all these norms that are placed in front of me because they are nothing but made up rules. And that's hard because no one wants to deal with repercussions around that. I think our youth are getting better at it because I think they have access to education that we probably didn't have. I didn't have when I was like fucking 13, excuse my language. Like gay folk would set it off. Like I didn't have the like, all right, I'm queer at 17. I have an entire TV show about me, or like what this documentary looks like, or what is pan, what is trans, all, like in front of me. And I think that gives them a leg up because it's just education. I think the youth have to teach us a little bit, honestly. So,
as somebody who works with, I work with middle and high school students, doing therapy with them. For better or for worse, like big time, they have a lot of things that they can see that like we didn't have access to. And you know, whether it's good or bad, they also don't give two shits about rules at all. So they, like the same way that we have been sort of conditioned and taught and make us feel like, oof, I can't do that, or like, nah, I can't let nobody see me do this. These kids don't give a shit. They are literally like making up their own rules, doing whatever they want. I'm working with a high school senior who has 3 boyfriends and everybody knows it. They like full poly, like doing their thing. So they doing their own thing.
I love it.
These young kids are pioneers out here, man.
Yeah, man. Ultimately, I think like the baton kind of fell off when it got to us. So it's up to us to take ownership that it did fall off. Like the older studs, older femmes, they never really had the opportunity to open up and do what they had to do. We're getting that opportunity. We had gay marriage, a lot of us are married, so we're able to come up with these type of different systems because the old system never worked. So now that we're able to create something better, I think that it's opening up a space, but being like, we have to be open as well to, like you say, the people being fluid. And we can't lock it down to our community being a couple letters. We got to be able to let that, door be open. So if someone wants to come in and question things, we have to question fucking everything, because the things that's been given to us have kept us like crippled. So I think if we take the fucking crutches away and start to try to walk and find some better systems and just try to fix the problem just by you fixing your own problems within your own house. Like if you're, doing that from a small level, it'll spiral out. So I think that we just got to take our part and take ownership of what we're doing and just stay open and tolerant and just, be ourselves, because that's what started this whole thing. There's been gay people for as long as there's been people. So we just have to keep evolving and just staying open and giving more images in a positive light. So that's it.
So I'm happy that, we were definitely able to build connections. I want to thank everybody for coming together for this conversation.